Hello, and thank you for tuning in. We're going to try something new today. We're going to be going over Summer Games Fest because we decided, hey, you know what? There's a lot of interesting announcements. Might as well kind of give our opinions, our thoughts, and see what everyone else has to say. I'm Dante, and here is am I the
Me.
co-host? Are you the host?
It,
Who's the
we're
host here?
we're each other's
We're
co-hosts,
both
so
co-hosts.
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we're each other's sidekicks, and in our own mind, our own ego, we think we're the hero. So
We own each other. All right. Summer Games Fest was pretty okay in my eyes. I saw the Summer Games show with Hideo Kojima's boyfriend, Jeff Keighley, and I also saw the Microsoft press conference and a little bit of the PC gaming show and the Future Games show. What did you see?
I saw the first day on Friday, and I wanted to see a little bit of Saturday, but I'm not too much into the indie side of video gaming, so I kind of tuned out. But I did watch all of Sunday, or the majority rather.
All right, so the first one, let's talk about what we're both really excited for. Cannot go wrong, cannot do wrong. Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, so Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out in 2025. For those who don't know, me and Dante have had a good history with the Monster Hunter franchise. Dante started earlier than me with the 3DS era, and I hopped on
You, baby.
World. Yes, before me. He is the person that got me hooked on the Monster Hunter addiction. With the trailers that have been coming out, not only on Summer Games Fest, but for the recent trailer that came out about almost a week ago, we got a lot of insight of what the game is going to be having in terms of mechanics, obviously what the game looks like with its engine, and with Summer Games Fest's new trailer, we got to see a lot of new monsters that are going to be in this new ecological system that they're building in Wilds. For example, there was what I want to say an elder dragon towards the middle-ish end of the trailer that gave me a lot
You're
of...
talking about the blue lightning thing.
Yes, yeah. It gave me
Yes,
a lot of
100%.
what was it called? Aslos vibes.
Ooh, that's a good one. I haven't heard that comparison yet. That's good.
It kind of reminded me of like a fusion between an Aslos, hence the lightning, and the Gormagala a little bit with its horns rised up. But seeing what Monster Hunter Worlds, not Monster Hunter World, but seeing what Monster Hunter Wilds
Monster
is
Hunter
putting,
Wilds.
yes,
They both start with W.
seeing what Monster Hunter Wilds is doing with its new gameplay mechanics that we don't know too much about, but for instance, what we saw in the trailer prior to the Summer Games Fest trailer with the greatsword mechanics of having like a wide sweeping slash as you walk across the monster, and then also the what looks like a timed event to me where you were able to parry the monster and also kind of do like a tug of war type of animation with it. It seems very interesting to me. What do you think about that, Dante?
I need to see more. I am so excited for those systems. I don't even know what they are. They just look cool, and that's enough for me, honestly. Yeah, the introduction of the weird lizard mount that you have now, as opposed to the dog or the tail riders that we used to have in World. That changes the game plan up a lot. Like, shoot, mounted combat with like a light bow gun or a heavy bow gun. Shoot, that's gonna, yeah, assuming it's even viable. That's gonna drive up the power scaling of them a lot. And if it's anything like Rise, everyone should have access to it. Because you know, in Rise, the big thing they changed from World to Rise, you probably don't know, but they let everyone bring a Palico or a Palimute, no matter what. So it's not like, oh, if it's 2 people, you get 2 cats. If you have 3 people, you get nothing. Now it's more so along the lines of, hey, you know what? Everyone gets either like an aggro or a support type of character behind them. So I'm gonna assume that we're all gonna get a lizard. I know someone brought up, man, Lance could probably joust with that thing. Super armor joust through monsters? That sounds crazy.
That sounds like
Who knows
a
what the
really
gun
good
Lance is
idea.
gonna be able to do. It's a really good idea. Except I want to do the clash that the Greatsword did with the Lance too, but I want to like be able to shove it back or like shove it off a cliff, or some sort of point of interest.
My only fear is that the great sword animation where you're doing that, how I said earlier, the tug of war, I'm afraid that it's not a timed event, but a
story event?
No, 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 no. Not a story event. Not something that's. It's something that's scripted, so that it only happens randomly when you meet a certain level of requirement, right? When the requirements are met, it auto procs in a certain fight, right? So my worry is that with the fluidity of the certain weapons and also just the fighting style within Monster Hunter, is that it could break people's, I guess, train of how they're doing their moves, right? So if someone's, let's say, rocking longsword and they're in their momentum, they could just lose it all completely when this procs automatically, if that's the case. So.
I see what you're saying. It's kind of like I know in I don't think you played Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the big problem people talked about in that game was you could be going ham on a boss, and you hit a point where everyone has their drive meters up, everyone's doing the strong attacks, but you get to a point where a cutscene happens, you lose control of your character, and you were in the middle of whatever, your ultimates, your rage forms, what have you, and they're gone now because you could have killed them. You probably could have killed. You had enough damage to kill them, but the cutscene or the event, the QuickTime event demanded, no, you're gonna stop and you're going to watch this cool thing, and then you're going to go back to whatever you were doing without that resource that you were in the middle of using, because the game wanted to look cool, and we don't care. Is that kind of what you're worried about?
Yes, I am worried about that to an extent, but again, this is all just speculation, so we'll see what happens when the game does come out. But I am very much so looking forward to how they build their map, because it's not going to be as every game prior to it was, especially like Worlds, where we're accustomed to a biome map here, and then the second biome is going to be its separate map, right? We have to load in to the other one and vice versa. Where this is just going to be one unilateral map where everything just coexists and there's like a constant changing weather system, or I'm so led to believe.
I'm curious because it's almost the way they're describing it. Also, they talked about those cinematic QuickTime event moments. They say that you have to do a very specific thing to trigger them. So if it doesn't happen on accident. You're gonna do it like on purpose, because that's the only way to do it. But the way they're pitching the game kind of makes it sound like there's not gonna be like a hub gathering system, which would be weird, because actually, you know what? They probably could go both ways, because they made it sound like you're going to take the quests actively in the open world. Because you saw in the trailer when the monster showed up, your handler said, by order of the Hunters Guild, this quest has been begun. And so I guess they could go both ways, because you could kind of do that in Worlds already with the Guiding Lands, taking on the hunts without returning to the hub.
My guess is that how they might have done, well, they've never done this concept before, but in the 3DS era of Monster Hunter, where you were, I'm forgetting if it was 4G or Double Cross, where where there's the across the desert there was the boat, right? Similar to the one that's in Wilds, right? That is essentially the quote-unquote hub, right? So I'm wondering is that since we no longer have a huge hub that we did in World, we're just always constantly on the move, which is also why maybe when we're on our mounts, we also have the ability to swap to a second weapon on the fly, right? That's also for convenience, but also because we lack that hub world.
They're gonna use this as an excuse to bring back Eschaton Latreon, and I'm gonna cry. They're gonna make it even more complicated somehow. They say, you better use both those elements. You get 2 weapons with 2 elements. You better be ready. Or they're gonna have worse. They're gonna have bosses that are like Latreon in the sense that, oh, this element's not working like at all. Do something else.
You
better have 2.
See, but the thing is that we'll have the weapon with us from the get-go, so I don't have to fly back to base and leave you to fight Latreon by yourself and try to survive while I swap to a fire weapon or a nice weapon or so on and so forth.
God, I'm not gonna complain about the fight, but man, that was hard. That was a hard-ass fight. I sweated so damn hard that fight.
But overall, I'm thinking Wilds is shaping up to be a really good game. We're gonna get more videos about its gameplay when it comes out in August. Hopefully, we'll get more details in how just everything works, or at least more so with combat. It's not just all speculation, but To kind of conclude a little bit on Wilds, what is one monster that you would like to see be in Wilds, whether that has already been shown in World or from a previous game or whatever you desire?
I'm a basic bitch, and I'm gonna just say, give me Zenogre each and every single time. Sorry.
Okay.
While you're at it, give me the other one too. Give you the Stygian too. For
Okay.
no reason. Absolutely no reason.
Excluding Zenogre, what would you say?
He wants me to let go of my boy. Okay, if I had to choose one... You know what? You go first. I have to think about this, because I know you already have yours on the top of your head.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's Gamif. A funny story was that I was very excited when Iceborne dropped because I thought if there was ever going to be an introduction for Gamif, it was going to be here in the snow biome.
Makes sense.
Right? It made sense. It made sense in every single regard. They even had the mob monster on the ground that was like the
Oh, what were they called?
I forgot what they were called.
Gobos?
Something.
Bobos?
No,
Boos?
no, they were not.
Bows? Popos! They're called Popos.
Popos, yes, that's what it was. Popos were the infantile version of a Gamif, right? Popos apparently they grow up or into a Gamif at one point or another. And I thought, okay, there's so much leading up to the introduction of Gamut. It's right here in front of my face. Like, I'm just waiting for it. And I played all the way up until the end of Iceborne. And, like, I'm still fighting Elytra. And I'm thinking, like, okay, Gamut's got to come out of here, right? Just still in denial. And it never came.
Yeah, getting through Iceborne, just waiting for the monsters. Because they added a lot. And I went in there blind and just like, oh, wonder what they're going to do. Where is it? Where is it? And you get to the, there. Maybe later. There's the Latrion. Maybe next one. It's the final update. Maybe next game.
Yeah, it just stops.
Well, it didn't come. It wasn't in Rise either. If that makes you feel any better, you didn't miss out on it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't buy Rise outside of it being on a physically limited Switch.
Off the top of my head, if I had to choose a monster to come back, I think my joke pick would be the Great Jaggy, because that was literally the first thing I ever hunted back when I was playing 4U on the 3DS. Actual pick, I think they should bring back the Quechahuacha, which was this weird elephant monkey thing that was so annoying to fight, but it just made it so much more satisfying when you took that thing down.
I have no idea what you're talking
right
about
now,
at all. So
you can look it up. It's imagine a giant monkey with the head of like an anteater that spits water at you through the trunk, and that is exactly what it is.
Okay. All right. So now
that's all I have to say on Wilds. Oh wait, one more thing. I
Yeah.
hope the handler redeems herself. Okay, moving on.
And with our discussion of Wilds concluded, we can now move on to the aforementioned Avowed, created by Obsidian Entertainment of all companies. And Dante, I'll let you take this. What do you think?
I'm gonna be a prick and say studio, not company. And I am going to do that completely not knowing what I'm talking about. I don't know. I just know that they're studio. Avowed, yeah, it's gonna be the New Vegas devs version of Skyrim. Anyway, yeah, it's a first-person RPG, could be third-person. I know that Obsidian's last big thing they did was Outer Worlds. I kind of heard mixed things. I think majority of people liked it a lot, but my brother liked it. He played it all the way through. Me, I could not. I got past like the space station, and afterward I got bored. I could not. I heard Vegas devs, and I'm just like, no. I thought it was gonna be better, and it wasn't. But Avowed has a lot of opportunity to make a real splash in the what would you call it? An action RPG? Action RPG, Western action RPG. I'm hoping it's good, but at the same time, even though it is good, it's also Microsoft, and I'm afraid that they're going to kill Obsidian, which is going to kill any hope of a legitimate New Vegas 2 or a New Vegas remaster. Because rest in peace, my boy Hi-Fi Rush and Tango Gameworks. Okay. Just last thoughts for Avowed being, please make the magic system really good. I think we need better, cooler Magic systems in games. Skyrim is a cool game, but man, does Magic suck in that, and it makes me upset every single time having to play it vanilla.
Since I don't know too much about Avowed and Obsidian Entertainment in of itself outside of Fallout New Vegas, which I profoundly love, we can move on to the next game that they talked about in the Summer Games Fest today on June 9th, being World of Warcraft. And obviously World of Warcraft is not a new game. It's been around for, God, I think over, what, 2 decades? Around 2 decades now?
Old relative playing it.
Oh yeah, no. Funny enough, my first introduction to World of Warcraft wasn't the game in of itself. It was actually the South Park episode that talked about World of Warcraft. And from
That was a funny one.
From that alone, I was able to develop an interest. So I guess it worked out in the end. But yeah, they announced a new expansion coming to World of Warcraft, and it is interesting to say the least because how they presented it seemed as if this expansion was going to be the last, and more likely than not, that's not the case, because why would they ever stop updating World of Warcraft? They've been doing it for over 2 decades now, and they've been making money, and they have a huge fan base still, so it wouldn't make sense to kill off the game when so many people love it.
Yeah, why stop when it's doing so well? Yeah. Well, I assume it's doing well. They're still going.
Well, you'd be
It
surprised.
has to be doing well, right?
It has to be. I mean, you'd be surprised. I actually I went to God, like almost a few months ago, I went to Taiwan, and I walked into a random park, and I saw what was about a 12-foot statue of the Lich King in this park.
Oh, that's sick.
And it was dedicated to the game because so many people in Taiwan at the time played so much WoW that they made this monument, the statue, in this park. Granted, they all play other games like Valorant and CSGO, but at the time, WoW was king in Taiwan. Putting Taiwan aside, the expansion that they're putting out, it did seem like it was going to be the last that they're doing, because I guess in terms of story and lore, every single expansion has presented itself with its main campaign or its main story and its underlying threats or villain. How with obviously the expansion of the Lich King, there was the Lich King, and with the expansion of like Pandaria and their given enemy, there was always a core story and their villain. With this, it seems to me that it is literally Azeroth, which is where the game takes place. It's the central world, and I don't know how.
Just saying the villain is the planet?
I'm not too sure. It just seems how the map is set up, right?
I know nothing about WoW lore, by the way.
No, I'm
Disclaimer. I played Hearthstone, that's it.
My WoW lore is dated because I started playing when they introduced Blood Elves, and for people who don't know that, Blood Elves were introduced in the, I believe, second expansion ever. So I've been playing. I started playing when I was like 11, maybe 12.
Wee lad.
Yes, I was started very young on hard drugs, but from my older limited lore and knowledge of it, the map of Azeroth is set up in 2 main continents. One which houses the majority of the Alliance, and the other side being the Horde. Now in the center, there's this like auspicious vortex or center of Azeroth, and it seems just like kind of like a black hole or like a bottomless pit or something, or at least that's how it seemed to me as a kid, right? And that seems to be housing this new villain, who is I have no idea who this person is, but it seems that if the villain is now the core of Azeroth or Azeroth itself, then it begs the question: is this the last update, or at least one of them? I'm not too sure.
I love it when I have to fight Galactus / Apocalypse / Kronos / whatever villain is just vibing somewhere out in space or inside the planet. And they're like, haha, I was the strongest the whole time. And everyone's like, oh, gotta band together. Gotta take them down. I remember people were upset. I'm not sure if you can tell me this, but I heard, and I know one of my friends was like a WoW diehard, but people were really upset when the Lich King died to that one elf lady. They said like the power level scalings were all like messed up. Like that should have been a clean sweep for him. And instead he got clapped.
Well,
You know anything about that?
the thing is, from my understanding, right, is that in the trailer you're referring to, which was the previous expansion, that does people's anger. I understand, but I don't think the anger. I wouldn't say it's just because the person she had fought wasn't the true Lich King that existed firsthand. The Lich King that was in the Lich King expansion when it first dropped was defeated in that expansion, and the person who took over for the position of the Lich King was not the same person, because it is
That's new to me.
it's akin to I guess, if you bear with me,
It's another mantle.
yes, it's a mantle in a sense, but it's akin to, if you can understand the correlation I'm about to make here, within the lore of Pirates of the Caribbean, right? The movie franchise, there's the Flying Dutchman ship, which has the Squid Man. I forgot his name.
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones.
Okay, Davy Jones. Excuse me. Which has Davy Jones, right? And when they kill Davy Jones, the Flying Dutchman still needs a captain, because
Yeah, which is Will.
which is Will. Will had to take up the mantle because the Flying Dutchman always needs a captain. That is the name of the curse that is tied with the Flying Dutchman. And it's the same thing with the mantle of the Lich King, in the sense that there always has to be a Lich King. So there was a man that stood in
I see what
place
you're saying.
for the original Lich King and froze himself, which was the man you saw in the trailer that lost to the elf. So it wasn't the true Lich King that lost, so...
Well, yeah, okay. It wasn't the big bad. It was someone else. Got it. Okay, well, WoW lore expanded upon. I now know.
Hopefully the new expansion does well for itself. Hopefully they add something new. I know with not every single expansion, but some they're able to add new things like housing expansions and obviously new races. And if they add any new races, it'll be interesting to see what they are. But with the conclusion of WoW, we can move on to DBZ Sparkling Zero. And Dante, I'll pass it off to you. I meant to say Sparkling Zero.
No, we're going Sparkling Zero now. Anyway, Dragon Ball Z Sparkling Zero, aka Tenkaichi 4, aka the second coming for the hope of all Latinos, all Latino boys and girls. Yeah, it looks solid. I mean, it looks like a Tenkaichi successor, which is funny because we all thought that Xenoverse 1 was the Tenkaichi successor. It was okay. I think the big thing I'm excited for, because there's going to be a buttload of characters. The what if scenarios, since you're going to be able to rebuild the story. Just being able to rebuild the story and also export those stories so that everyone else can play them as scripted stories sounds really fun. I hope there's a lot of replay value and not just, call it heads or tails. Pick one or two, right? I think my favorite one that I saw was what if they picked Hercule for the Tournament of Power? Oh my god, that sounds like a mess! And then someone on Twitter said, or I saw a post on Twitter that was pretty crazy. It says, imagine adult Gohan versus Super Buu. Super Buu pushes Gohan a little too far, and that boy's hair starts glowing white and his eyes start glowing red. Oh, it's sick. I love that. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing, but I don't know what's gonna happen with at least the main story aspect of the game, because as it was portrayed in the trailers, you can definitely see that how within each storyline, for example, the Saiyan Saga, there's always going to be what seems to be an option you can choose, right? So you can follow along with the original story as it was intended within the anime or manga, or you can divert from it, and the consequences that unfold from that, we don't know what, and if it will collectively gather and wildly change the outcome of what the story could be in the ending of each saga, or just in totality at the end. So that'll be interesting to see.
Oh, I saw another one that said, what if future Gohan watched Trunks die versus 17 and 18 and then went Beast Saiyan? That's another cool timeline, if that's even achievable. A lot of what ifs involving Gohan, actually. Yeah. Shout out to Gohan. Infinite potential.
Gohan has a lot of potential.
Infinite potential. Mm-hmm.
Gohan has a lot of potential. He was originally supposed to be the person
chasing that bread.
Yeah, chasing the bread. He was the one that was originally supposed to be chasing the bread. No, he was supposed to be the person to take over for Goku at one point, but that idea was scrapped at one point by Akira Toriyama. But it would have been a good one, I think.
It would have been good.
We can now move on to Perfect Dark, which to me seems like the love
Also
child of what looks like to be Watch Dogs, Dishonored, and Cyberpunk all rolled into one. So
that was a salad you just rolled.
that was a big salad. That was a big salad I just tossed, but it screamed a lot of different games that I have seen and or played in my life, and I don't know what to think of it. If it's going to be like all of these games, or it just looks reminiscent to that, and it'll be able to stand alone by itself. Hopefully, it will be able to carve its own name for itself, rather than be some sort of, oh, it's kind of like a Dishonored clone or a Watch Dogs clone or so on and so forth. But we'll see.
I'm going to go ahead and disarm all the Perfect Dark fans. In case people didn't know, Perfect Dark is a game from back in the Nintendo 64 era. And I think they got a game for the 360 era. So this is definitely a remake. Its own thing. I legitimately thought it was Just Cause 5 when I first saw it, because I saw Square Enix and Avalanche. Not Avalanche. Who was it? Square Enix and who? Do you remember?
For Perfect Dark?
Yeah, the studio.
No, I don't. I don't.
Eidos? Okay, it was one of those studios also worked on Just Cause. And then I also saw the wingsuit and the jetpack and the big city. I'm like, oh, it's Just Cause 5. I think it looks really sick. I think we need more spy games. Futuristic techie spy games, personally. Cyberpunk definitely scratched that itch for a bit. I'm still waiting on the James Bond game from the Hitman devs. I haven't played Perfect Dark ever. That was before me, and even on the 360, I didn't really know. Was it 360? My gut says 360, so we're just gonna go with that. I think it has a lot of potential, and I hope that the original Perfect Dark people are satisfied with how it goes on. I'm glad you have your remake, reboot, what have you. Rest in peace for everyone who is a Hollow Knight fan still waiting for Silk Song. Spoiler alert, we're not talking about Silk Song on here because nothing Silk Song related was there.
And with that disappointment, we can move on to, I think, a fan favorite, Fable, which is not being called Fable 4, just Fable in of itself. So I started playing with Fable 2 on the 360. Dante, did you start on Fable 2 or 1?
I started Fable 3, and I was playing it primarily as a co-op game with my brother. And we said, this game is awesome, and I hope we see the fourth one someday. And then it took a while, and then they rebooted it, and I'm not sure how it's gonna do, but we'll see.
See, the interesting thing is that since I started on Fable 2, I prefer Fable 2 over 3 because in my mind, maybe it was my taste as a budding preteen, but the Fable 3 story was, I think, average, as I'm remembering it. It didn't really come off as anything.
I hear a lot of people have that opinion. A lot of people didn't like Fable 3 compared to 2. They say 2 is the best one.
2 is the best one, at least from my perspective. People can obviously like Fable 3 as their best, which is, I guess, a valid argument, but Fable 2, for me, I think it set a standard. I think it's akin to how you would see the Saints Row franchise. 1 was good, 2 was amazing, and then 3 tried to be something like a lot more crazy or just out there, and it kind of just ended up being averagely mid. And then from there, it just went downhill, at least for Saints Row, because the franchise just doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down on being insane. But that is another story for a different time. But hopefully Fable will keep its core mechanics that everybody loved from Fable 2 and 3. Like
More fart jokes. Let me fart on people.
that too. But the whole fantasy aspect of how it was able to create very lighthearted jokes and an atmosphere within a world that had a very good and also serious story that was able to accompany it alongside.
But Nico, what if farting on people isn't fantasy? My final fantasy, if you will.
And with that, we're going on to Mecha Break.
Here, hold on. I'm stealing the microphone real quick. I'm talking about this now. Oh my god, I love giant robots. I love giant robots fighting each other. It's so cool. Armored Core 6 was fun. A friend got me into Gundam, and I said, that's sick. I haven't watched the shows yet, but I played the Gundam Evolution. But I do watch a lot of synopsis videos on it. Robots are cool. I think robots are great. Titanfall, hi Titanfall. This game is really cool. I'm not sure if you saw, but you can customize your suit up the wazoo. I saw suits with blades, suits with lances, big ass sniper rifles, suits that can transform to fighter jets, suits that are dashing all over the place, suits that have drones attached to them, a la what was her name? Gundam Ariel. It looks sick. It's amazing. It's a battle royale, and it's free to play. They really just could have made it a deathmatch, and it would have been so much better in my eyes. But they just decided, here's the best thing ever. I'm gonna take a fat shit in it and say, here, have a taste. I hate it. I'm mad. I hope they make it better. I hope it's good.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore, but I can't speak on Mecha Break or the Mecha franchise at all because I have no background with it, but I'll take...
You've never watched a mecha in your life? That's crazy.
No, well, actually...
Watch anime for days.
Wait, hang on. I'll correct myself.
Okay.
I have some exposure, but it is not the traditional mech that you're thinking of. It is specifically only to Zoids.
Oh, that's a deep cut! Oh my god! How? I haven't heard that franchise in ages!
Yeah, well, when you're a kid, the robots that look like animals are a little bit more appealing. At least to me, they were. So,
Everything looks so good.
I was very heavily invested in Zoids as a kid. I even played the games that they had for the GameCube, right? I even still have.
Yeah.
I still have it. I still have the GameCube with the exact Zoids game, and I never watched the show, but I did very much enjoy the video games that I played. But outside of that, no, I don't have any exposure with Gundam or standing humanoid mechs of anything of the like.
I take you as someone that would like either Iron-Blooded Orphans, which is like the hey, we're gonna make child soldiers responsible for a giant robot, and we're codename Kids Next Door, except these children are gonna die. Witch from Mercury, that's what it's called. I bet you would enjoy both of them. Witch from Mercury or Iron-Blooded Orphans. I think if you have time, you should watch those. They're very quick. It's very quick, like 2 seasons each.
Okay, I'm writing this down, and it's gone.
Your loss.
Nothing to gain, everything to lose. Speaking on mechs, that leads us perfectly into our next game, Doom Dark Age, which is the polar opposite. So,
yeah, he lied to you. He lied to all of us.
Actually,
everybody point to everyone that believed them.
Actually,
point and laugh.
It's not
No,
even life.
oh,
There is a mech in it.
oh
Now that I
my
think about
God,
it.
you're right. There is a mech in it. Oh God, he got me. He got me twice.
I got you 3 times. I got you.
Now I got a point and laugh at me.
Yes. But Doom Dark Age, I expected another Doom game, yes, but it being this theme, no, because Doom is a very interesting franchise from the very beginning up until now, as you see its evolution. The first 3 Doom games, the original one, Doom 2, and then Doom 3, which premiered on Xbox 360 and the like, was very similar to one another in the sense of its lore and its world building, right?
I
And
don't think
then
people like Doom 3. I remember.
I liked Doom 3. I thought it was very good. I thought it had a very good horror aspect for a game of its time. But
Okay.
how it's evolved as a franchise reminds me very much so of God of War, in the sense that the first 3 God of Wars were very similar to one another, and then with the introduction of the new series of God of Wars that came out in the late 2010s, it started to become more than what it was before. And oddly enough, Doom Dark Age specifically reminds me of God of War, like the modern day God of War now.
Yeah, fun fact about that. Apparently the original creator of God of War disagrees with like all the new God of War stuff. He said that he never wanted Kratos to like have that maturing or that like personal redemption of his own, which I've seen people go back and forth with. I think I think new Kratos is cool. I like new Kratos a lot, but it's interesting that the creator is like, evolution of a character is bleh. It's kind of how he described it.
Yeah, I think that's a common trope with amongst the originator of a certain art and what spawns from then on. Like for an example, with zombies, the man who originally created the concept of a zombie in the first zombie movie, he doesn't like the majority, if not almost everything that is zombie related ever since his movie came out. I remember, I don't remember
Night of the
the...
Living Dead, right?
No, was it the Night of the Living Dead? Maybe it was. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm just misremembering the name. But the man, also, I can't remember his name, he just outwardly spoke to the public that he didn't like most modern day zombie takes, whether it be shows, movies, or video games. I remember that when The Walking Dead was at its height in popularity, he was asked to be on the show and he denied because he just did not like how zombies were being portrayed in the show. And
Oh, really? That's crazy. What?
yeah,
Huh. That's really interesting.
see, so that's what I'm saying. With somebody who trailblazes and creates something completely original, right? More often than not, whatever spawns from their creation, right? They usually may not like. Well, that's not the case for everybody, but at least with zombies and also God of War, that seems to hold true. But
Yeah.
straying off from topic, Doom Dark Age is very interesting because with the previous Doom game, I thought, where could they take it? Because it seemed that he fought the ultimate bad, which was literally himself, right? He's always been perceived as the ultimate threat, and now he has to fight the ultimate evil, which is the polar opposite of himself. And once he's conquered that, where does that go? And it seems that we're going back into the past, at least from my understanding, hence the more warrior type, Nordic almost feeling combat with the shield and dragon that you're also able to ride, and then the oddly out of place, at least to me, mech that you're able to use as well. So seeing where Doom Dark Age will go, that is yet to be seen, but props to them for creating a story that is constantly evolving. Because if you were to tell me that Doom 3, right, the same Doom franchise from 3 all the way to the very beginning, would one day have you fly a dragon and enter a quote unquote mech and fight angels and demons, or like angels as well alongside demons, I obviously would not believe that. But here we are, the power of modern day, and with that, we turn the clocks back a little bit further with Civilization 7, which I have no knowledge about. Dante, do you?
Get in the suit, George Washington. Otherwise, John Adams is gonna have to do it. I put Civilization 7 on this list, despite only playing 1 hour of Civilization 7, because I think Civ, just from looking outward in, is an interesting concept. Those games take so long, man. Like I was watching this conference with like a friend who was big into Civ, like literally been playing Civ 2 or since Civilization 2. And I mentioned him, was like, this is the one game where it's like they can give like a cinematic trailer and it counts as much as gameplay, because it's like you can't really show gameplay for Civilization, because it's like, and he agreed. He said, yeah, because it'll be 6 turns of doing nothing just to make like a couple of farmers, and that's the game. Like I think we all tried to sit the 1 hour that we did do. I think it was like an 8-player Civ game for Civilization 6. Oh my god, that went on, and people lost interest. So you absolutely need to love that type of game to get into it. I think it's a really good game. I don't think it's for me. I think I thought it was going to be more of like an RTS, as opposed to like more of a management sim, which I guess I should have seen coming, considering it's called Civilization, right? I hope America's rep is someone more modern. I think it would be funny if, fuck it, put Andrew Jackson on there and make him evil as shit. That man was crazy. We already had Teddy in Washington. Make it Jackson. Make him crazy. Do it. Next on the list is a franchise I have been begging for them to make a collection for, because I don't want to play it on the 360 anymore. 360 is icky. It's too old. Gears of War 6, also called Gears of War E-Day. I almost said Judgment Day. Gears of War Judgment was something else. It's old. It takes place way back in the day. That was back before Marcus was in the prison cell that Dom got him out of. Marcus and Dom were still working together. I think it's when the Locusts were first being introduced. Yeah, the trailer is Marcus absolutely getting his cheeks clapped by a locust. Please make a collection. Please make a collection and make it readily available on the PC. Please. I just want to play through 1, 2, and 3 again. Thank you.
See, I don't share that same sentiment with you, because I started with Gears 1, but I also stopped with Gears 1, because I picked it up and I almost put it down immediately because I wasn't a fan of the chunky gameplay.
This man said, these men too beefy, I'm out. Everyone's built like a fucking sausage.
They're a little too beefy for me. I don't know. I think as a kid,
$1.50.
As a kid, and especially now, when it comes to certain games, I'm a little bit more interested in gameplay that's a little more fast-paced, where I'm able to have the option to run around and move very quickly. I'm much more of a movement type of character, or movement type of person, as to the taking cover and crouch running everywhere. That wasn't my cup of tea. I did play Gears of War 2 and 3 with my friend at the time when I went over to his house, but the story seemed obviously very good. I just was never really there for it, I guess. The one thing I did find, sad, but also pretty funny and also redeeming at the end of Gears of War 3 was the whole story with the Carmine brothers. I
completely forgot the Carmines existed.
The Carmines were an interesting thing, how like each game there was a Carmine brother, and then they would always just canonically die, but the third one survived, or rather the one in Gears of War 3 was able to survive. So that was a nice little thing they
We
did.
voted. Thank God people said save him.
Did we actually vote?
We voted, yeah. There was kill Carmine or save Carmine. My ass said save. Especially since this Carmine's like the most badass one out of all of them. out of all of them.
But with that, we get to go on to Flight Simulator. And I am not a simulation kind of man. I'm more of a go outside and touch grass kind of man.
Oh, he don't know what he's missing.
But I'll hand this off to my local aviation freak, Dante.
It's not even because I'm an aviation freak either. As someone who played the shit out of Ace Combats and Project Wingmans, please go pick that up. That is also an indie game. Please go play that. Yeah, this game impressed the shit out of me because my brother played it and he wants to be a pilot, like a commercial pilot. And yeah, he played the whole thing on realism mode with the exact plane he was gonna go fly for the trainer, and he flew that shit from one city to another one, far ass distance. The instructor didn't do anything. I think he took off and landed on his own. So if you play this game legitimately, it is a legitimate class on aviation, at least from a mechanical standpoint. Like, it works. It works really well. So that's really cool and really scary. I hope the military planes aren't too detailed. Don't want people to be stealing ours.
What I do like, at least for simulation games, the ones that err on the side of more realism, is that not only is their attention to detail very admirable, but it does correlate to real life experience. I remember at a time when the PS3 and Xbox 360 days, I believe it was Gran Turismo 5, maybe 4, I believe it was 5. They had a competition where they had players from, I believe, around the world or maybe select countries or regions play in this tournament and competition, and the highest ranking people were able to actually become participate in real life events in racing. I remember I believe there's a famous YouTuber I saw who won one of these competitions and was able to segue that experience into becoming a real life race car driver.
Isn't that the movie, Nico? The Gran Turismo movie is the same thing. It's someone who played Gran Turismo a long time, and then he became, like, what was it? A rally racer? Is that what they're called?
No, hang on, I gotta look this up. I'm not insane, you're insane. You talk about Metal Gear Solid and I'll just look this up.
Yes, sir. Metal Gear Solid Delta. I don't know why it's called Delta, but I'm very happy for a remake of 3. It's a little weird because I'm noticing a trend with this. I'm playing all the popular ones, and I'm sorry. I really like these franchises. I like what they are. I'm sorry I didn't have it available to me for the PS2 because I was a wee lad and it was an M-rated game, and we kiddies in my house were not allowed to have the M-rated games on the PS2. But I have watched God knows how many videos on the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and I played Rising, Revengeance, and I played Metal Gear Solid 5, and I love them both. And Ground Zeroes, if you want to count that also. It looks really cool. It's pretty interesting that they still have Kojima's name tied to it. It kind of looks like they ripped everything from the original game that's not graphics into this one. So it's still David Hayter as Snake. I think it's all still the original voice lines and voice actors as well, with a nice pretty coat of paint and better mechanics. I was expecting it to look and play like Metal Gear Solid 5 a little bit, but it looks like it's going to be its own thing. It still looks really stiff compared to 5, but that was, I guess, the selling point for 3, is that it was very realistic. I also saw an article that said that your wounds scar you for the whole game. So if you have like bullet wounds for days on you that you go and you stitch up those things, it's not like a game where it's like, oh, your skin's clear. No, those bullet wounds are going to follow you for the rest of the game. I'm very, very excited for how they're going to do the boss fights. Don't forget that there is a boss, in case people don't know, some way, somehow. They just have were never on the internet. There's a boss fight in this game where you have to fight an old man who I think is the oldest man ever, who is a sniper and is so old that he invented sniping. He's in a wheelchair, and he is extremely hard. He's called the End. And the way that you can cheese the end is if you turn your game off and you set the clock to 7 days forward, he will be dead because he died of old age. And you bypass the boss fight. And I hope those mechanics are still in it. I'm really excited for it. Konami, please don't glub it. At the same time, I don't trust Konami. They fired my boy Kojima.
Okay, so I was right. That was a real story, not a fictitious movie story.
I never said the movie was fictitious. I said the movie was based on a real story.
Okay, but it's real. My point is that it's real. The person is called
I believe that.
Jan Martin Burrow from New England.
Okay.
Yeah. And he became a race car driver, and he kept climbing, and he became an F1 driver. And actually, it's a sad story.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it's actually
a dangerous one.
It's a dangerous one, yeah, because actually I just found out he actually had a crash, and he was fine, but he inadvertently, obviously not purposely, he killed a spectator.
Oh, fuck. Oh, that's messed up. Ooh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And
that's the risk you take.
Yeah, so that's
Rest in peace.
that's the deep dark side you're gonna get from this Summer Games news update. Anyways, Dragon Age 4.
Oh, I love elves, and no, I don't. I hate them. I absolutely hate elves in every single fantasy scenario.
Well, now you get to talk about them to your heart's content, because again, I cannot talk about Dragon Age 4. That was not my cup of tea.
I own all 3 games on the computer. Dragon Age 1, which I think is Dragon Age Origin, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition. I played through 1, I got halfway, my save got deleted, I've yet to go back. I haven't played 2 or Inquisition, but I have a friend that's a diehard. And he says those games are really good, and for the little bit that I played, they have really cool characters and a really cool storytelling and setting. You got a 4 now. This looks like it's like a heist. The narrative seems to be like some sort of heist, or so you're working with some kind of some kind of mercenaries or criminals, maybe even. They even had your funny little Marvel dialogue. He's right behind me, isn't he? Hey boss, you better take a look at this. If you like Dragon Age, I hope it's good. I don't like EA these days. They killed Battlefield, my boy. And I, at the very least, hope that it's gonna be good. For the sake of everyone else. And maybe me, if I really like Dragon Age. Elves also don't skate, which is another reason to hate elves. Skate! Also from EA. Everyone played Skate 3. That's the one game I think that's the one franchise where if you ask someone who played Skate, everyone says 3. No, not a lot of people have played 1 or 2. Everyone just said 3 because YouTube, hi PewDiePie, back in the day. I think EA is gonna glup this one up too. They made it free to play. They keep saying, "Oh, we're working on it," but at this point, I am almost entirely certain that this will end up in a Ponzi scheme-esque operation, in which is like, "Oops, I guess we were supposed to make a game, weren't we?" Continue, go for it.
I don't think this game is gonna flop like how you think it will. It will.
Oh, it's gonna flop worse.
I believe it will be a good game. I think what they're aiming for how long they're taking, right? Which I also think is a good sign, because they're putting a lot of time into it and not just trying to put out a game. Because time and time again, we've seen in like the last for the last decade in this gaming community, in this gaming franchise, that companies have just been making games and they've been putting it out and they're not fully baked, they're not fully cooked, and they fix it years later to what it's supposed to be on launch, as if that is the new standard, the new business model for everybody to follow. Yes, AAA. I'm
Hey,
saying
AAA Industries, not the insurance.
AAA Industries always have followed this for the last 10 years, if not more. And with Skate, yes, they're a part of EA, but I do believe that if EA is willing to let them cook, they'll put out a good game. And from how long they're taking to put it out, I think that's a good sign, because if they were to put it out now or within the next year, I think, yes, your assumption would be right. But it seems like they've been working on it for like at least 3 years, if not longer than that, maybe even 5. Who knows how long they started planning this. But worst case, it might be a live service game, which has a bad rap for good reason.
It will.
For good reason.
Free to play, it's already confirmed.
Yeah. But there are obviously good examples of live service games. Like, for example, with the most recent one being Helldivers. Granted, it's had its own issues, but
Yeah, a lot of them.
but it's still a very good game. It came out and it was a complete game. The only issue was that it had server issues, right? Because it wasn't able to handle its capacity due to its rising popularity, right? Which I think is a good issue to have. But with Skate, we will see how it develops. Only time will tell. But as a diehard Skate fan, not only did I play Skate 3, I also played Skate 2 and a little bit of Skate 1. I had an older cousin that...
Oh, there you go. You're the unicorn.
Yes, I am. I had an older cousin who played those games, and I played them through him. And then I bought Skate 2 for myself, and then I played Skate 3. So I wasn't Skate 3 and then that's it. No, I actually have a good understanding. Funny fact, in Skate 2, the story starts off, you get hit by a car, and the way you create your character, in a sense, is through, I believe, BlackBerry's old kickflip phone, which was like the new phone that everybody wanted at the time, because you just kickflip it to open it. It's actually like a skateboard. It's pretty cool.
I was laughing a little under my breath because you said he got hit by a car, and then I thought you were gonna say that you make your character because of plastic surgery because you got hit by the car.
I can't remember if that's the case, but maybe that's a part of it. But you use a cell phone.
Oh my god!
You use a cell phone called the
Metal Gear
kickflip.
Solid 5 and Skate have something in common.
But with Skate, we'll see how it turns out. But I have high hopes for it. I do have expectations, not insane, but I have high hopes that it will be a good game. Dante, I know you're on the opposite end of that, but we will see what happens.
Yeah, the deal breaker for me is literally just the fact that it's free to play and it's coming out this year, or the playable version is going to be this year. It just reeks. Throw it out the door. They can't be angry at us if they didn't pay any money.
Well, you can pay some money for the next game we're going to talk about when it comes out, called Killing Floor 3.
Which I will. Assuming it's not like Payday 3, in which case they just they fumble the bag on the third iteration.
Killing Floor 3 is an interesting game, I think, for the both of us, because we both started on Killing Floor 2, correct me if I'm wrong.
And that was back before Killing Floor 2 really got like super popular.
Yeah.
We played it because of PlayStation Plus, that's it. It's the only reason why we started to play it.
And it's a good game. It's a good game. Very good game. It just reminded me a little bit of like a PS3 type of era game with the, I guess, the graphics. But I think it stood the test of time and had made a good fan base for itself and the community to obviously create Killing Floor 3, which looks good. Obvious step up from the previous game, and I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference, obviously with some mechanics and weapons and new enemy types, but I think at the core it's still going to be the same game, so not too hard of a game to, I think, mess up. I think there's a specific community that this is tailored for, and as long as they stay true to what they have done in the past and just improve upon that, I think this is a game that will do well for itself in its given niche, and yeah, I think it's a solid game.
From the trailer that I saw, I'm not sure if you saw that one because I think it released like not too long ago, like maybe a few hours ago. It was today. Yeah, they're doing the funny modern stuff with the better graphics. Melees are going to executions. It looks like there may be some like class-based abilities, and it was like one guy pulled out like a drone that was also helping to shoot alongside him in addition to his like normal gun. Everything looks absolutely horrifying. The monsters look great. Uh, there's not really any big way you can screw up Killing Floor besides just making killing the zombies or Zeds, if you will, to bad. I know Killing Floor 2 had an issue with monetization. They charged for DLC weapons, which I guess the upside for that was that if someone had a DLC weapon, you could, anyone in the lobby could access it. But they were pretty overpriced from what I heard. Good community, good communication with the community is literally just how they handle DLC was the only issue. Please no microtransactions. Please no microtransactions. Please no microtransactions. Just honestly, hot take. Just give me the loot box. Give me the loot box. Do not charge me for skins. I do not want to pay $20 for the funny weed skin or the funny golden gun. If you're gonna do a microtransaction, which you shouldn't because it's going to be a $70 game probably, just do the loot box, honestly. Don't make me pay for a freaking skin. Because I'm going to be playing your game anyway.
Well, we'll see how monetization affects Killing Floor 3, because as you know with modern games, they're very much a part of it. I don't know a single modern day game that came out within the last 3-4 years that's from a main AAA studio that doesn't have some sort of monetization in it.
It all goes back to the horse armor in Oblivion. The first sin.
Yeah, DLC, and everyone just thought, what if we make it expensive?
Oh, it's good. It can be better.
Well, Stalker 2 is
a game
that deals with stalkers.
Russians.
And I have no idea what this game is about. You go on and talk about it. I have no idea. This is all you.
So, I believe in Russia they have Metro. Russia has Metro. America has Fallout. Ukraine has Stalker. That is the map of the way each nation handles the post-apocalypse. I know nothing about Stalker. Again, outside some videos. Sorry. But it looks really cool. I know every survival game tries to end up making the mechanics like Stalker is the general rule that I heard. Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, a lot of those hardcore realism mods, I feel like take a lot of inspiration from Stalker, according to my sources who do play Stalker, because it is, at its core, mainly a very strange, scary, post-apocalyptic, realistic survival game where you're scrounging for ammo, food, what have you. You're essentially scrappers, from what I heard. You're scrappers that are going into this zone that... Okay. Let me start at the beginning, because I got this explanation today. All of this could be entirely wrong, and I would believe them anyway. But the way he described it was, Stalker is a game in which there are aliens that use the Earth as a junkyard, and they dump their highly complex trash into Earth, and that creates little anomalies that are not human, very alien, that you have to deal with in different ways. And this junk is very valuable, and so you, as a stalker, versus other scroungers, scavengers, and scrappers, need to get this scrap and get out so that you can get paid. And the scrap has done all kinds of things. The wildlife is mutated. People are mutated. Everything's scary. You don't know what's going on. The weapons are old. Everyone is speaking Russian. Or I'm not sure what language it is. Well, they're speaking a different language. There's no English here. It is not Metro. And it is very popular and is coming out this year, I think. And I might pick it up. I will probably end up playing the first one first, obviously.
And I will not. But unlike the next game, which I will not probably
will.
I probably won't.
You probably won't.
No, because like how some people might share the sentiment with me, it's the same game for the last 2 decades, and that is COD Black Ops 6.
I formally apologize every time that we've ever complained about it being the same game, because now that the games are very different, I wish that we didn't just spend the last 10 years going in a circle. Yeah, Black Ops 6. I wish it was called something else. Black Ops 6 is a game of Call of Duty this year, developed by Treyarch, the better of the other companies, in my personal opinion. I think the big thing that came out of this summer game show is that you can sprint in all directions and you can do the Max Payne dives in every which way, which is really cool. Black Ops 1 and 2 and Cold War are canon. 3 and 4 are not. Mason is dead. Zombies is confirmed. They're going with the Dark Aether storyline, which is the continuation of Cold War. I have no idea if the original Zombies crew is going to be in it. I am a big hater of Call of Duty, Modern Call of Duty. I liked Modern Warfare 2019, and then Warzone came along, and I hated Warzone. I absolutely hate everything Warzone did to this franchise. I hate the skins, it makes so much money. And, you know, the fact that the skins don't get transferred to Black Ops 6, that should be reason enough for anyone to see that these skins are a freaking scam. Don't spend $30 on a skin. Dude, don't do that. They're gonna take it away from you. They're just gonna take it away again. They already took it away in the first Modern Warfare, for the first Warzone. Campaign looks really cool. I think the multiplayer looks really cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. That being said, as a hater, I think this game looks really good. I think it looks a lot better than Modern Warfare 3. And the multiplayers have always been really good for Treyarch, and Treyarch also has zombies. And they make good campaigns, unlike Modern Warfare 3, which was just single-player Warzone. Absolute travesty. Absolute freaking travesty. Trainwreck. And I hope Black Ops 6 does well enough, and I hope they don't go too crazy on the monetization, but it's Activision, and I know they will. I, for one, will not be buying any skins ever. And I think I still have the COD points with me that I had from Black Ops 3. So, think about when Black Ops 3 released, that's how long those COD points have been in my account.
Well, I know you're going to like the download size for this game when it comes out being at 300 gigabytes that you quoted me earlier.
Oh my god, it's not even going to be worth a 300 gigabyte game. Hold on. Go ahead and take over. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of games that you can put in your system for 300 as opposed to Black Ops 6.
My understanding, or rather my lack of understanding, because I don't get it, why is this game 300 gigs? It's essentially the same game as the predecessor before, right? Maybe it's more beautiful, maybe there's a little bit more complexity to it, yeah, sure. But these games keep getting bigger, and I don't understand how they can't just, I guess, relocate the resources when they're building these games and just try to trim the fat. There's got to be places where they can trim it and make it a little bit more sizable.
It's because these games are unoptimized. That's the reason why they're so... It's not because the game is big. It's like stuffing all your clothes in a suitcase. If you just fist them all in there, you're going to run out of room. But if you stack them in a sort of a neat way, you can optimize the space a little bit better. It's the same thing for these things. They're just fisting all this data in there, and they're not taking any time or care to try to make it, you know, more user-friendly.
Because the thing is that they turn these games out like every odd 2 years. That's why they don't ever optimize it. Because why? They're gonna have the next one coming out. They're already working on the next one right now, I bet. You know, it's always just the next one. It's never this one. It's just the next one. Which is why I don't ever buy into these games anymore. Because it's never the game. It's always the next game. They're never living presently when they make these games. And that's why I have like a very big issue with just the whole Call of Duty franchise. I stopped playing, or rather buying them after Modern Warfare 3 because it was just... Actually, no, Black Ops 3, excuse me, because it was just ridiculous.
Also, on another note, these high storage spaces, and don't even get me started with the updates. That's just vanilla, man. Wait till the updates start dropping. But that's gonna kill it for people who have not very good internet. Like, on the old internet I used to have for Modern Warfare 2019, I think I spent 2 solid days downloading it. 2 solid days. And I have a friend who's a huge COD fan. You would give him 2 weeks, he wouldn't be able to download it. Downloading day and night. Right? Anyway, for 300 gigs, you can either have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, or you can have Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate at 145 gigs now, by the way. It used to be 70 before they put a whole bunch of updates. Good ass updates, by the way. They give you more story, more character moments. You can also put Elden Ring on there, which is sitting, I believe, at about 50 gigs. You can put a nice little turn-based game I played called Wildermyth. That is a co-op turn-based Baldur's Gate-esque storytelling kind of vibe for 2 gigs. Literally 2 gigs. And of course, Monster Hunter Rise at 30 gigs or Monster Hunter World at 50 gigs, all of which with the DLC included. But go ahead. Put the 300 gig game in your system. I completely forgot about the 300 gig thing. That alone might stop me from getting it. But we'll see, because this game lives and dies based on how many other of the folk that I know get it.
See, because the thing is that as a business, your ultimate priority is to generate money, right? And within this business, they're obviously generating money, but they could be generating so much more if they were able to just optimize their game in one regard, right? Just one regard alone, right? Because they have to acknowledge that the majority of their consumer base has to be people on consoles, people who don't have access, or rather the know-how or the patience to build a gaming PC, or the money, right? Because these things are very expensive. And for you and me, right, we can buy that game and have it on PC and not have a issue. It's 300 gigabytes is still a big chunk, even for like the terabytes that we have. But for consoles that are only given anywhere between like old school of like 500 gigabytes to a terabyte, you're effectively giving up half of your space. Because I know consoles, when you first install them, they have to take up a certain amount of the basic space, right? And then that game, on top of whatever future downloads that are going to come out for this game, it's going to be taking up half, if not more, of the console's space at one point. And then you have to buy more fucking storage space that comes with the consoles, right? It's just more profitable to not optimize it so that people are forced to buy the accessories for their consoles to be able to play the said game. You know what? I just went on a tangent and I answered my own question. Now I know why they're not optimizing it. So yes, there you go. There you have it.
It's absolutely crazy, man. 300 freaking gigs. 300. Oh, and apparently this game's gonna be on PS4 and Xbox One too, so
yeah, good luck.
Yeah, enjoy when that system explodes. Enjoy when it explodes in a fire.
You turn it on and it sounds like a jet engine off rip, and now you're gonna have to try to play this game? No, good luck. Yeah, you're done. With that disappointment, I think that we're done here with our synopsis of the Summer Games events, unless you had something else to add, Dante.
If you stuck around this long, thanks for evaluating our opinions. We're just 2 guys on the internet that just like video games and like to talk and like to listen to our own voice. It's so nice.
Yes. Thank you.
But hopefully we gave some sort of good commentary and analysis that is unique to our identity. We don't want to end up being, cookie cutter. Oh, it's a talk show. This is a video game. Look at the video game, pretty graphics. We definitely might be doing this for these major events, especially for stuff that we were really excited for. I'm gonna go crazy when Kingdom Hearts 4 gets more news.
Yeah, and if there's anything else you guys would like us to talk about, if this type of video interested you guys, then go ahead, by all means, leave comments on certain games or franchises. We'll talk about those individually or all together, and we can just talk about it and go from there.
Yeah, if you think we're wrong, by all means, leave a hateful comment. We'd love to read them.
Yes, we do.
We'd like to learn.
Yes, we like to learn. We love to hear
Please
how...
teach us our mistakes.
Please tell us Fable 3 is the best and Fable 2 is actually the worst. Please tell us that 300 gigabytes is justified. Please, I want to hear it all.
Please also remind us, in case we end up being very confident in our opinion and end up being entirely wrong, that helps us to develop as people.
Yes,
That's my favorite.
On a very
Cyberpunk.
Yes, on a very...
That would have been crazy. Remember how excited I was for Cyberpunk?
Yes, I know, and you bought it day one.
That would have been a terrible day to report on PlayStation 4.
It would have. But yes, thank you to everybody who stuck around and listened to us, whether we were just background noise or not. But yeah, leave some comments, whatever you guys want, and we will see you in the next one. We have been Yessir, and yeah, Dante.
Check out Killer Bean. Goodbye.